Yes, everyone. What's going on? This is Five with Five. Stephen Howson, Joe Beya, that fella who used to play for QPR. Lads, how bad were that?
It's all going off, isn't it? I can't even sit here properly. It's doing my head in.
Real sitting in the dark, depressed. That's what you've done to him.
Having to sit here and defend this team is killing me, man.
Why is he just smiling in the corner here? What's going on?
Having to sit here.
Joe, you know you're here, don't you?
I do know I'm here. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm usually the one asking questions. I'm the one with the excitement, the buzz. If I talk too much, I say, "Oh, what is he now?" Whatever. You know. Let's before we start going into the jokes and the banter. How boring was that, Howson? You've literally just come from the match, right? You were there yourself, and from watching from the TV, it looked boring. It looked like, you know, you guys couldn't handle Neves and Coutinho in the middle. I don't think McTominay and Matic is the answer. You need to tell me what's going on, man.
For everyone just wondering, before we get into that, Rio can't be seen on the stream. So I don't know what's going on with that. Rio, do you want to try coming in through your laptop or something else? Because it's just a black box on the screen where Rio is now. So we'll try and get Rio boxed off for you. But he is here, so we can answer your questions and he can give his comments as well. But I'll answer what you're saying. United got done tactically tonight. Wolves came with a brilliant mid-block, really disciplined for it. No distance between the centre-half and the centre-forward. Made United's complete lack of movement attempt to play through it, which we obviously can't do because we don't have the midfield to be able to play through it. There was a total lack of movement ahead of the ball. There was a total lack of quality on the ball. And the best two midfielders on the pitch were wearing orange. Simple as.
And what is all of this, Steve? 4-2-2-2. 2-2-2-2. Is it working?
Well, no, it's not working. You can't look at it and say objectively that the formation is working. But I also don't think that the players are working either. So you're just going to sack the players off. Like, if this is the formation he wants to play, I can see genuine reasons why you would want to play this formation. But either the players can't adapt to it or they're not performing, utilizing it, or it's exposing some weaknesses in what the players have got. I love a 4-3-3. I think it gives you so much control all over the pitch. That would be the formation for me, but it's just not having it. I think Rio's is working now if he wants to come and sit down. I think his screen's finally come back on. You know, and 4-2-2 is a valid formation. You're absolutely able to get something out of it, and people have done recently. And I think there's going to be a spot in football currently for a two-striker system. So many people have gone to one-striker systems or three forwards, which is two wingers and one main striker, that I just think that when everyone's going one way, the team that goes the other way and does something different, and a two-striker system for me, doesn't it?
I think that system works when you've got wing backs who can bloody produce. And yeah, I don't like to be the one to call out the spider. You know what I mean? But I don't think he's at the levels. Remember when you laughed at me when I suggested Dalot? And you almost went mad at me, like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Dalot was X, Y, and Z." Can you now see what I was talking about? Because he offers more going forward. I understand that AWB, yeah, offers a lot in a 1v1 situation, and he pocketed Mbappe during PSG. But do you see what I'm saying, Steve? With the system that you're playing, or where you can see the players that Man United have, you need someone who can provide. And I'm not trying to dig him out because it's not just him, but you need players who can supply to Ronaldo, who can supply to your strikers. And I'm sorry. I don't see it.
He's not good, but he's a symptom rather than a cause. I think the midfield's more of an issue, especially like it made sense, I thought, on some levels. In hindsight, it didn't, but at the time he was picked, it made sense because you're expecting Wolves to pull a Dan Traore out in a starting 11. And you need him for a Dan Traore because the rest of that back four's got no hope against him 1v1. But Wan-Bissaka does. So you can understand why he's thinking, I'll bring him on because at least physically you can compete with him. You know, if he ends up on a break, that's the guy that you want going covering those tackles. It never really ended up like that. And obviously he comes off the bench, so there's an entirely different thing going on. But the problem with United is the problem that it's been all this season. we're overloaded with good centre forwards, Cavani and Greenwood and Ronaldo. Probably 3 for, realistically, it should be 1 position, really. 3 there, and if you include Martial and Rashford that can also play there, you're looking at 5 for essentially what should really be 1 position in the team. But then when you say, well, who's United's number 8s? And we're probably playing 3 of them in this formation, or 3 central midfielders at least. Where are these number 8s? Who are these number 8s? When you think about the talent ceiling that we've got with our strikers, you look at the talent that we've got in our midfield. Teams aren't as good as their best players. They're only as good as their worst players. And it's the worst players that let you down, because the worst players are the ones who make mistakes, and the worst players are the ones who limit what you're able to do on the ball. It's not about what your best players do. It's about how good your bad players are. And United's weakness at the moment, people thought I was taking a piss when I said this is the bottom half of the table central midfield. You would literally go to every single team in the top 10, and that includes Wolves and it includes Leicester, you know, and all right, maybe not Arsenal, but
no, don't try to come at Arsenal today, because if you're looking at our midfield at the moment, Steve, we are cohesive, we're playing together, and the players know their role. They know their role. When he plays well, ESR right now is representing more than a couple of you guys. You know what I mean? I know it's not. I know ESR doesn't play the same position as McTominay, but I'll tell you who I know who I'd rather have right now. You know,
and that's the issue, is that no one's looking enviously at some of the. There are players that United have got that people look enviously at, but when you're looking at the likes of our midfield, you're not envious of in the slightest.
Nah.
Let's see if Rio's alive here.
I mean, United's performance worse than Rio's internet tonight. Whilst he's still sorting that out, Steve, Bruno, did you agree with the fact that he wasn't starting today?
It made sense. He's not been firing lately.
Am I in?
And if Rangnick wants to get...
Yeah, you're in, Rio.
Yeah, you're in, yeah. If Rangnick wants to get certain systems over the line, it's a squad game at the end of the day. There's a lot of games come thick and fast. He doesn't have to start every single game. And you can't argue that he's having the form that he had under Ollie anyway. So it's not like he's undroppable, is it?
Rio, I want to ask you. I asked Steve, but I want to hear your opinion. 4-2-2-2-2-2-2. Is it working for Man United this season?
When you've got, you know what my biggest gripe is? If you've got Cavani and Cristiano Ronaldo in your team, 2 of probably the best attackers of the ball from wide areas, and you don't play with any real width or any people that are capable of putting the ball in good areas, then it almost feels like it's a pointless task. I think you've got to play to their strengths. It's like when we had Falcao years ago. You bring someone who's great at attacking balls but never cross the ball. So how can you expect them to produce the goods? Cristiano can do things from other areas as well. So can Cavani. But if 2 of their big strengths are from when you cross the ball, get the ball in the box. I'm not saying hoofy. I'm saying play with a bit more width maybe. I know he thinks about, when he plays this 4-2-2-2, it's about fullbacks being the width then. But Wan-Bissaka isn't the person to cross the ball. Do you know what I mean? Sure can do it when he gets up there, but it didn't get up there enough, and we didn't have a good enough possession enough today. But the way that they're playing now didn't allow us to get in positions to really put the ball into dangerous areas for the 2 front players. Listen, you look at the stats, 19 efforts on goal they had, so I think it was our 9. I mean, at home, that's despicable. It isn't good enough. Again, we can talk about, it's the first defeat in 8 games or 9 games, Ralph Rangnick was saying before the game. But the performances, probably since the first game, haven't been anywhere near what we was anticipating when he came in. Yes, he still needs time to kind of shape the team his way. But, I mean, the problem he's got is when you're looking at someone like Conte, the stark contrast of the way the team was performing before he came to the results, and a bit, they're still not performing or firing on all cylinders, but there's a big improvement in their team, and especially the results since he came in. And probably that's what Ralph Rangnick's going to be kind of judged up against in some ways. But I think a big part of it for me is some of the body language that you see on the pitch. It's concerning. The system and the way the team's playing isn't getting the best out of a Jadon Sancho. Today, not the best out of a Cavani. I mean, a lot of the players you could say that for it's not getting the best out of them. And I think one of the key things that Ralph Rangnick said, and you can't judge him yet, it's too early, but one of the key things he said when he came in was that I'll get individuals playing better. I want to see that, because at the moment I'm still not seeing that.
you said it yourself, Rio, when you're looking at the stats, 9 shots for United, 19 for Wolves, 2 shots on target for United and 6 for Wolves. Cristiano Ronaldo, are you a bit worried about his body language? As far as I'm seeing, right, when I look outside, I see a frustrated player. Obviously, he's going to be frustrated. Do you worry that, you know, this frustration could lead to him maybe leaving at the end of the season? I mean, he's not one to be afraid of packing it in when he wants, right? What's your thoughts on that? Do you reckon there's a long-term effect with this?
I don't think that'll be on his mind now. I think he's on his mind is the now. It's getting this right now. He'll be doing his utmost in that training ground, in the 90 minutes as well, to rectify this situation, as will a lot of the other players. But like you said, body language is an issue. I mean, Marcus Rashford comes off the bench and you expect him to go out there and really fly and give it some. And sometimes you see him losing the ball, and the reaction when he loses the ball isn't what you want to see. Sometimes that could be down to him not being happy, not playing, etc. But you've got to put that to one side. When you're out of the team and you come in, it's about proving to the manager what you're about, who you are. And he maybe feels he's not getting the opportunities that he deserves, but I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint one player. You can't. I think all the players have to take responsibility here, from Cristiano at the top all the way down to the other players. And listen, we can talk about how well the results have been since Raniak's come in terms of only 1 defeat in 8 or 9 games now. But if it wasn't for David De Gea, you could probably be looking at 4 or 5 defeats in them games. Do you know what I mean? So that tells its own story there. But I think all the players, they're all accountable. And I think Cristiano will be the first to hold his hands up and say, like, we've all got to do better. And I don't think you can just say it's one player. I'm not saying it's just Rashford. I'm not saying it's just him or her. It's all of them together. Far too many managers have come and gone now at this club for us to just blame a manager. It's the players have to look at themselves and say, listen, you know what? We aren't doing what we should be doing as individuals and as a collective, so we need to improve that. And listen, they are. I know that. I speak to players at the club. They're desperate to improve and to do well, but it just at the moment isn't happening for them. And that's where Ralph Rangnick has to come in and galvanise his team. He has to make sure this team don't go on that slippery slope and fall into that place of where they were earlier in the season, losing result after result and looking like a real shabby bunch of players in a team that wasn't cohesive in any way, shape or form.
Phil Jones had I'd say decent performance. I'm not going to overcook it. I thought he had a decent performance tonight.
He played well. He played well.
For someone to come in out of the cold like that, Steve, it's a good shout. To come in out of the cold like that, you have to.
He's had some shit off me for the fact that he's still at the club, which Rio got to blame for. But yeah, I think he's got to have a shout out for coming in and doing a decent enough job. Like, what happens now with Phil Jones? Is this improving his fitness to move, or is this a real run at potentially becoming a productive first team member, do you reckon?
I don't know. I think they're planning him, maybe put him in the shop window first and foremost. But if he plays well enough, he might change his mind, the manager. And that can happen in football very quickly. I'm just pleased he got through the game unscathed, no injuries. Put a decent performance in after such a long time out. Not easy to do. So you've got to tilt your hat to Phil Jones. Again, he's coming from a lot of stick. A lot of my words are probably misinterpreted a little bit. But I think, you've got to say well done in terms of how much time he's been off the pitch to come in and play in the Premier League to a standard he did today, albeit his header was the one that fell to Moutinho's foot before he scored. But I thought he was class for long periods in the game today.
Yeah. Super chat.
Luke Shaw's been talking. Let me just read this out before you do, Joel. So cool. Luke Shaw's actually been talking in his interview after the match. I'm just get this quote up because he's been speaking about Phil Jones. And he said, one thing I will say is Phil Jones should be proud of himself. He's been criticised for years, gone through a lot, but he's so professional. He's trained down, he's phenomenal. Very happy for him and he deserves it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rio. I can hear you. Well, it's going a little bit funny, but we can hear you.
Have I dropped
Whilst
out?
Rio's reeking a little bit, but I can hear you there. Can you hear us? Whilst he's sorting out his connection, Steve, I want to give a massive shout out to the super chats coming in. Keep them coming in. We haven't forgotten you guys. Shoma Fool, well done. Congrats. Cheers, mate, for sending it in. Says, easy to say Ronnie has no supply without addressing he is competing, poaching from the young players. Same group was top of the league 2 months ago. And then you've got AJ Singh that says, Rio, thank you for everything. Big fan. What's your thoughts on the quality of our midfield? You as a centre-back played with the likes of Keane, Carrick, Scholesy. And then he says, let's be honest, we are the weakest in the league. Ooh. Singh.
Not weakest in the league, though, is it? Come on. Evidently isn't the weakest in the league. It's not good at all, but it's not the weakest in the league.
Go on. Whilst Rio's trying to sorting himself out. Did you hear that, Rio? Rio can't hear us. Wait, someone needs to tell Rio to log in and log back out. But yeah, listen, you're going to have to be the Rio stand-in for a minute, Steve, and answer the super chat question.
Go on, what is it?
It was Singh said that obviously Rio's played with quality players, the Carricks, the Scholes, the Keens. You know, are United the weak? Well, he's saying United are the weakest midfield in the league. Do you reckon it's the weakest?
It's not the weakest midfield in the league. It's not. Like I said this earlier, but it is probably 12th or 13th in the league, which is nowhere where Manchester United's midfield should be in the slightest. It's not the weakest, but it's certainly not good.
No, it's true. Can you hear us now, Rio?
Yeah, I've got you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Just talking about our midfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's if you look at the 2 midfields today, Neves and Moutinho, they look so much more in control of the game and in control of the football than our midfield ever did. And that's a big part of our problem. I think that we don't control enough of the games. But that can come down to individuals, but also the shape of the team. I think there's so much to improve on. There's individuals, but also the team shape. At the moment, doesn't seem to be suiting certain players because certain players aren't showing what they're really about. We haven't yet seen the Sancho of Dortmund. Rashford looks like a shadow of his former self. Cavani isn't firing even really. Wan-Bissaka looks short of confidence at the moment. Maguire's been lacking confidence, and I'm waiting for the players individually to be built up. And that's one of the big key points, as I mentioned earlier in this, that I thought that was going to be a real jolt and a real jump and a real shift when this new manager came in. Yes, he needs time. But again, after the first game, I haven't seen a real shift in that confidence and then performances from individuals to then elevate us as a team. And that's what I need to do. You need to see that. We need to see an improvement in that area.
Do you think that's because the players... I'm looking for the super chats, guys. I'm going to be shouting them out soon. But do you think that's because the players know that he's only there for the interim? I remember the second time Gus Hiddink took over at Chelsea, it didn't have the same effect that it did the first time round, you know? Do you think it's because they know?
These players are under extreme scrutiny. They're getting judged daily. We're on a live straight after the game. These players have their own personal pride, you would think. So they want to be putting in performances regardless of who's going to be there, who ain't. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yella Dean says, thanks for the super chat. When you guys replacing Joel? Not tonight, mate. I'll tell you that for sure. Wheezy Frere says, is this the beginning of the end? Yeah, he's dropped out. You're back in now. Are you actually clearer now? Is this the beginning of the end for this club? Let's be real. Wheezy Frere asks.
It's not the end for this club. It's a bit extreme, man. Jesus, man. Don't try and put me in the floor as it is. It's been a long night as it is, man. Jesus. But no, listen. It's
on the internet again.
Yeah, exactly. It's slow at the moment, man. Confidence is low. And that tonight, when you watch that game, it's just like a team lacking any real confidence at all. And that was the disheartening thing about it. We were clinging on before this game to, we're on an unbeaten run. The manager hasn't lost yet since he's been here. We were clinging on to that. Today, we get beat by a team that come and tactically probably outdone us today. And they've walked away from Old Trafford with a point. But they put us under pressure. They've had more shots on goal than us at our place. In most of the stats, they would have been better other than possession. And it just wasn't to be today. And there's a lot to be answered for. And the club, the management and the players will be at the drawing board, I'm sure, in the classroom tomorrow picking the bones out of it.
Rio, do you ever remember a time where, I mean, we were pretty successful, I think it goes without saying, while you was here. But was there ever a time that you can relate to where confidence was this low? And what were you lot doing individually and collectively to try and pull us out of it?
There were times, I don't remember exact times, but I remember when you'd lost a game and drawn one and lost a game or whatever, and it weren't going well. You was second or third or fourth in the league at one point. The main thing I remember is there'd be arguments. It'd be teetering on the edge in training. People will be getting smashed, getting up against people, because that frustration comes out on the training pitch. And I'd love to be a fly on the wall on the training ground now, because that's where you see where it really hurts people, if it really matters. Because people you see people doing a bit more in the gym, a bit more in the training ground, a bit more on the training pitch, because they're trying to iron out any mistakes or lack of confidence that they've got. They go back to the drawing board. Are the players doing that at Old Trafford? That's the questions that you need answering. They're the ones where you want to be a fly on the wall and go, okay, is he getting in a little bit earlier than he was before? Because he's scared of these performances continuing. That's what I want, and that's what we don't know the answer to right now.
I don't feel like we've got the characters there doing that, though.
And if there are players that aren't there doing that, there's a culture that tells players you better fall in line or not. And at the moment, I don't know if that culture is there right now, and they're trying to put a culture in place because it's not there yet, maybe.
First of all, sorry guys, I'm making sure that we balance it out. Rio, glad your internet's working. Massive shout out to everyone who's watching. Please tell a friend to tell a friend, send a link, smash the like button. We're almost at 4,000 people watching. We need to get past the 4,000 mark. We're still doing the super chats. Talal Sawar, Rio, you were just talking about training, so I think this one's fitting. Talal says, there's clearly something that's not working. Why are why are you guys not giving Donny van der Beek a chance to play those small intricate passes?
Listen, to be fair, Donny, as good a player as he is, and I feel he hasn't been given enough of chances to go and play in a sustained run in the team. When he has had a chance, he hasn't really gone and grabbed the ball by the horns and made it impossible to be taken out of the team. That's the problem. That's one of the problems. But there's not what players other than David De Gea and Cristiano Ronaldo could honestly hold their head up high in this team at the moment and go, I've done my bit. No,
and that's the problem. It's far too many of them. You're scratching around going, well, who was man of the match in that? And you go, well, De Gea wasn't terrible. Is that the standard of United now, is it? That not terrible is man of the match?
So that's where it's been, and that's the worrying thing at the moment. If it's not Cristiano getting them out of a hole with a goal, a late-minute winner. I mean, if in the Champions League, Cristiano Ronaldo don't play, they're out. Simple as that. And then David De Gea, the last probably 5, 6, 7 games, without him, they probably lose 4 or 5 of them games.
We got an absolutely stonker of a super chat here. €200. I promise you that's all going to go and try and get Rio first world internet. He says United's movement.
Wait, what's the name? What is the name? And we got to get
Thomas Dickinson. Yeah,
Thomas Rio, you got to shout out Thomas Dickinson, man. 200 euros.
Dickinson, United's movement was static and passive. It was no urgency and sharpness in the passing. A lot of that. Passing was under and over hit constantly, 4 or 5 touches. That's the big one for me. The 4 and 5 touches before we do anything. It never moves forward quickly and confidently. Wolves controlled the game and wanted it a lot more than United. Body language was awful, no fight. I think it's all the quality. I think he's right. I mean, Rio would reckon. I think all the quality was with Wolves.
Yeah, I think Thomas Dickinson's hit the nail on the head, and I think we were saying this when Ollie was in charge at the back end of his tenure, is that there's no patterns of play, and I've got to be honest, you look at the game tonight in isolation, I didn't see any patterns of play. I don't see the ball going into a midfielder and play it first time around the corner. Are they not good enough to do that? Or is that not something that's a picture been put in their head on a training field? Like, these are little details. I watched the game on MUTV the other night, just flicked it over and it was on the ball, went into Carrick a couple of times. And I look and I put it against, you see, I shouldn't do this, but I put it against what the players in today's team would do when the ball comes into midfield from a fullback. A lot of the time they'll get it, turn out and play sideways across the other side of the pitch. He was whipping balls left and right, foot straight into the forward, into the winger, like at mad angles and mad paces. But the confidence or lack of confidence, some would argue maybe the lack of quality in there, is not enabling us to really transfer the ball through the team as quick and as fluid as we've once seen. And it's wrong to do it against older teams, but I can't help it when I've seen that last night and it's vivid in my mind. I'm thinking that would never happen in this team, the way we're playing. Are we working on a training field of them patterns? And then these are the questions that everyone's asking around the world. The whole fan base of Man United will be asking that, right? And the only not saving grace, the only defensive point of way of looking at it for someone like Ralph, where he could say, "Listen, I haven't had my team on the training ground enough." That's the big thing. He hasn't had his team on a training ground to implement his ideas yet, and that's the one where I would side with him on that, and did one defence thing for him where he could say, "Listen, I've had players on the pitch, but I've had them in 60s and 7s rather than a whole team."
Yeah, neither of Tottenham, Rio. I'm sorry, he's not the only one that suffered in that department. A few games have been cancelled, and as far as I'm concerned, Tottenham have showed that, you know, when you have a new manager that comes in, they can still make an impact despite not playing as many games.
No, it's not about not playing as many games. It's about having time on a training field. You don't know how much time Conte's had compared to Ralph Rangnick. You don't know so you can't say.
COVID, mate. They've had COVID issues as well.
No, but I'm saying, you know, every single club's situation is very different. You can say there's been an outbreak of COVID at one club. It's very different to the other. So you can't say, "Oh, Conte," until Conte comes out and said, "Oh, we've had X amount of days and the same as Ralph Rangnick," then you can judge it like that. But I'm not being so brutal with it in terms of saying, "Oh, Conte's been in charge for this, so it's got to be exactly the same." Everyone's situation with COVID, unfortunately, is very different.
That's a fair point. Shout out to KB. I don't agree with you, but shout out to KB. Sati Dev Abraham says, "Is Ragnick schooled? Players aren't playing intuitively." I asked Steve this because, Rio, you need a little bit of a breather. You played 2 6s at home to Wolves. Remove Greenwood over Sancho Cavani.
I don't understand what the question is there, but why people fixate on us playing 2 6s? You play 4-2-2, there's going to be 2 deeper midfielders, 2 more attacking midfielders, and 2 forward players. It's not about playing defensive players. That's an attacking structure. It's a very offensive structure because you're still only playing 2 players that are responsible for defending from the centre. Those 2 midfielders you might as well play 4-2-4. And 2 of the defenders are attackers anyway, or should be. They're just not in United's system. It's a very offensive system. It's attacking with 6. And hopefully those 2 in the centre are recycling. They just don't do it at United because they're not good enough on the ball. Matic is obviously just over the hill, and I don't think he had a terrible game, but he certainly wasn't the Matic of old that can cut about the place. But he's got some really good off-the-ball defensive attributes, but his ability on the ball and those Michael Carrick passes Rio was talking about earlier, it's a bad comparison, you know, when you watch that team, the team from 10 years ago or 11 years ago, and you watch that versus the team nowadays, and you see some of the quality of passes and some of the places that United receive it in. When we play against a mid-block like we play today, you've got to have movement, you've got to have quality, you've got to have bravery, you've got to be able to play the ball through the centre. The opposition want you to go long or to try and force you to play risky balls over the top. And United haven't got the personnel to really be dealing with that. You know, we're not as blisteringly quick. You know, Sancho's a great dribbler, but he's not that top speed. Who else do we have? Greenwood. Greenwood can hit that top speed, but he's not really known for being on the shoulder. He likes to come to feet to it. So tactically, Wolves got it absolutely spot on. How do you squeeze this United team? You go really narrow, front to back, and you try and make them go over you or compete in the air with you. And because you're playing a back 3, you've already got +1 at the back with them. You're in perfect sort of defensive position, and you're forcing us to try and play through our fullbacks or through our 2 number 6s who aren't capable of doing that. It was a brilliant tactical performance from Wolves.
Well, it sounds like there's a few problems there. I mean, I don't even know what to say further, Rio. Do you have anything to add at the moment? You guys are just putting me down, man.
No, it's just you don't want to see that. I mean, as I said to you, the results that were coming in, the performances haven't been great for a couple of weeks now, but we were getting fair enough results. And you were sitting there thinking 2 games in hand on the likes of Arsenal, etc. we could get right near amongst it and fight for the top four. Listen, top four is not out of our reach by no means, but we're just making it a bit difficult for ourselves. And like I said, if you could see some performances behind a result like today, it wouldn't be so doom and gloom. But because the performance was so drab and so almost lackluster, lacking any zip at all, it just leads you to a place of being very down and downbeat about the team. Yeah. And I don't see. I'm struggling to find where the spark's going to come from, other than a David De Gea save or a Cristiano goal out of nothing. Like Bruno Fernandes hasn't been in the team in recent weeks. He's been the talisman for the last 2 years. He's not been in the team for the last 2 games. Not started. He comes on today actually as our best chance and almost scores. It's the bar. But how's he going to get back into the team? How's he going to get back into the team? And what does he need to do to get back in the team? Rashford, how are we going to get a firing, hungry Rashford that we saw when he burst onto the scene? I haven't seen that Rashford for weeks, for a few months now. And like his excuse before, and fair enough, the excuse before was he was carrying an injury, a shoulder injury. So you give him the benefit of the doubt. But since he's come back, his body language, he hasn't looked like the Marcus that we've all fell in love with and we all love. That someone who runs at people, who's aggressive. Every time he gets it, he wants to hurt the opposition. I've not seen that. I want to see that. I mean, even Mason today. I mean, him coming off today, well, it baffled me. I've got to be honest with you. I couldn't understand him coming off because he was the one who looked like he was going to unlock something out of the players that we had up front. And then them two, Rashford and Sancho. I want to see the spark, man. I want to. They're the players that get you bums on seats. They're the ones that get you on the edge of your seat and tease defenders and hurt defenders. We need to get back to that, man. Get them in positions to do that. Get them the confidence to do that. But they got to do that as well. They got to bring it themselves.
I think you're right. There is player responsibility. I mean, what we're going to do, guys, just letting you know, there's 4,500 people watching. We're going to talk about a few of the other games as well because we know that the vibe with 5 has been a bit choppy recently, but it's because of the Christmas period. We are back. Keep smashing the like button. We're reading out your super chats. I think when it comes to Sancho, though, we have to be very careful, though, Rio, because players like if he comes back into the City team or a Liverpool team, he's in a system that works, and you're seeing a different Sancho. So I think it's not just an individual thing. I think it's actually more to do with the team. And United still look like they're finding their identity, still finding it under Ollie. Obviously, that's changed now with Ralph. I think the boy needs time, which of course I know you agree with. But I think it's the United system at the moment, if I'm honest with you, man. Those players.
Yeah, but the problem is, and I agree with that, everything you just said there, the system and the way the team's playing, the confidence of the team that he's come into is harming him. But he won't be judged like that. Whereas you're talking from a sensible perspective. In the game today, it's very different. The way it is, there's no logic or anything that's involved in football. They'll look at his performances and judge it just based on his performances, and that's the unfortunate thing with the game today in some respects. But yeah, you're right. If he goes to a Liverpool or he goes to a Man City in a team that are confident and full of running and full of fire, you think you see a different Jadon Sancho.
Yeah. Let us know how long you got left, Rio. We know you're a family man as well. Steve, let me switch it over a little bit. Thanks for you guys watching. Have you been watching any other headlines this week? The Romelu Lukaku thing you've been throwing in the group a little bit.
Bit of a bore fest watching Chelsea Liverpool yesterday, wasn't it? It was almost as bad as that game tonight.
Do you feel envious when you see the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold whipping it in? You know, when you look at that right back.
No, I like watching our right back fall over. It's well funnier.
I mean, let's talk about the quality of Liverpool first, going 2-0 up. I mean, excellent stuff from them, especially Mo Salah's goal for me. I have to call that out because that's some Messi-esque type behavior right there. Dropping the shoulder, going in, fooling the keeper with his eyes, playing it near post. The guy has to be the best player in the world right now.
He's in my fantasy team, so I was buzzing when he scored that, to be honest with you. But he's the way he stood Alonso up and just shimmied a little bit, moved him up, just paused him. He pressed pause for a minute and then slapped it in the goal. I mean, he's the most devastating player around at the moment. He's so decisive. He's getting 2 or 3 chances a game. He looks like he's too hot to handle right now. Mo Salah, man. I mean, he's going to be going to the African nations, and good luck to him and Mane, the 2 goal scorers. But that's going to be a big loss. But if they can navigate their way through them 2 games, then they're going to still be within touching distance of City, who are running away with it at the moment. But Mane was lucky to be on the pitch, man. He was lucky to be under the elbow. Like, that's where VAR this weekend has been a shambles, man. Absolute shambles. You go back to the Arsenal game against Man City, whether it's a penalty or not, right? They have to look at it. You can't look at one penalty situation and not the other. It don't make sense. So it's just like the VAR, man. It's just bringing more drama, more stupidness, more grey areas to the game than anything at the moment. It's just baffling.
Steve, what's your thoughts of Mendy, Chelsea goalkeeper? I mean, he wasn't in the Ballon d'Or team of the year. You know, for me, wow.
I think statistically, he was by far and away the best goalkeeper in the world last year. So like 93% of saves. That's an absolutely bonkers. You know, for the noughties from like 2000 to 2010, do you know who the keeper with the highest save percentage was in the world?
Who?
Edwin van der Sar, quite comfortably. Like Buffon was like 5th. Lehmann was in there like top 4 or 3, something like that. And he was at 79%. Mendy's just had a season with 93%. Now, it's all right saying, well, he doesn't face a lot of shots. And okay, yeah, you might not face a lot of shots. You would argue Van der Sar didn't face a lot of shots when he was behind Rio and Vidic. Pretty decent partnership. But he was still saving the most out of them shots that he was coming up against. And that's what Mendy's doing at the moment. A little bit like Oblak's had over the last few years in that Atletico Madrid defence. He's not facing a hell of a lot of shots, but he's still managing to perform and to save a serious high number of the ones that he faces. It's got to be really hard for a good goalkeeper to do that. Like, you can have nothing for 20 minutes of a game and then have to switch on and be perfect.
Yeah.
I think Mendy would be a keeper that if I was having to pick a keeper to play behind me, he'd be one of my top 2-3 picks right now in the world. Easy.
Yeah. And we got to give a massive shout out to Kovacic's goal. I mean, that was posting in from outside the box.
That's the one to score in a playground, that.
Yeah.
Lean back in it and with that sort of confidence. You don't do it like that in a big game.
Yeah.
No, brilliant.
Hasselbank was screaming, "Don't shoot," in the studio, apparently.
His goal record's horrendous. That's why. He's got such a bad goal record, man. He don't score goals.
Yeah. And obviously, Pulisic doing his thing. Sorry, I'm moving it across quickly, not trying to talk over you. Pulisic doing his thing. Can we move on to the Arsenal game very quickly, please? And let me know what you thought of that.
No, I have to say, the first half of football for Arsenal was the best I've seen them play for probably a good few years. If that was a glimpse of things to come for Arsenal, then you guys have got some good stuff coming. They were aggressive. Your 2 front wide players, Saka and Martinelli, just bullied, scared the life out of the City team. And you played with, there was some authority with the way you guys played, assuredness. And that first 45, man, and that's the loudest I've heard the stadium for many years as well, by the way. The atmosphere was great there. But then City just done what they do. This team, they churn out victories. They can go through the tough patches in games. They can ride out them waves. And by hook or by crook, they get over the line and win the game. Yeah, they got a decision. Not a lucky one. I thought it was definitely a penalty. You pull someone's shirt anywhere on the pitch like that, it's a kick. So they deserve the penalty. And then Rodri pops up. I mean, he's not renowned for scoring. He scored 2 in recent weeks, but that is an important goal. But I think if you're an Arsenal fan, there's a lot to be optimistic about because they're on the right track.
Yeah, we just got to be smart, man. Gabriel making those silly fouls in the beginning of in the middle of the pitch. I thought that was very naive.
Hey, I see in the paper this morning in the media about Isaac? Swedish boy. He'll be a good sign. Another young talented player. He done really well in the Euros, I thought, for Sweden as well. He's a talented player, man. Yeah,
I mean, for us, man, I'm just looking to improve the team as much as possible because I think it's time for some of the old guard to move on. It's time for Aubameyang to move on. Lacazette for me, Pepe. We're actually going to be talking about this more with Fabrizio Romano, so make sure you guys turn on your notifications. Yeah, that show's coming out. It's a flipping storming show. We're back for 2022. I want to focus on one more team, Rio. The team that are, in my opinion, all banter aside, they're the team that I think might come up and take top 4, and I think it's Tottenham. Last minute goal. David Sanchez. Go on.
What? Not West Ham, no?
Nah, I don't think West Ham will get the top 4.
Again.
They won again, but I just think the Conte effect, man. Something about it is just, for me, it's just different, man. They're winning their games in hand, unlike you guys. And on Saturday, us. But yeah.
No, Spurs, I think Conte, I really am interested to see how they finish the season. This window could be a big one for them. I think he'll go in the market in wide areas, definitely. And I think he'll be looking to buy wingers rather than fullbacks to play wing back. That's what I'm hearing. But I feel that Conte effect, I think, is a real important factor for Spurs. I don't think he suffers fools. I think there's a hardness about him that we all know about. And the demands that he puts on players, I think if you don't respond, you get out. Simple as that. No in-betweens. But West Ham, man, I can't go out on this show without talking about West Ham if you're talking about top 4. People saying, they want to decline, they're sliding, they're gone, bang up Palace, who've been a hard team to play against for many teams. And David Moyes is working miracles there. I'd be interested to see what they do in the window. I don't think they'll lose any players, any of the top players. They won't get rid of anyone like Declan Rice in this window. They'll add, if anything, to the team. And he's done so well in the markets of late. Who's to say he won't pull another a Souček or Kufal out of the bag?
Can I just say, before we move on to anything else, well done, Wayne Rooney.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Serious. Again, he got another point today. You see that? 2-2, late doors.
They're staying up. Can we hold a sausage roll party for him when he does?
Why sausage roll? What's the sausage roll about?
I don't know. I reckon Rooney's not a stranger to sausage rolls.
No.
You're out of order.
Yeah.
No,
I'm accurate though, aren't I?
I think he'll go. I think it was. You know what? He'll actually give you a jab when he sees you if he comes on the show one day. if I tell him that. But no, you know what? He's producing miracles down there for the resources the lack of resources he's got, and the way that he's got his team responding. Phenomenal stuff. So Wayne, keep it up, man. We're rooting for you. Fingers crossed you keep Derby up.
Hardest job in football this year.
Yeah,
hardest
that's
job
mad.
in football, bar none.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? You lot are probably going to get relegated anyway, and we're going to take 21 points off you. Good luck with that shit.
Yeah, and
He's going to do it. He's definitely going to do it as well.
There must be a big job lined up for him, man. Honestly, I could see it afterwards, Rio. There must be.
Everton need to get rid of that absolute sausage that they've got in Benitez and bring in Wazza, because they'll probably do bits with him. They've got a right squad. They've got an absolutely proper good team, right? And Rafa Benitez is just the worst manager to ever walk into the Premier League. He's garbage. He's absolutely frauded his way into a job left, right, and centre. He's rubbish. I've never seen a worse manager. He's got Steve Bruce.
Stop it. Don't disrespect. He's a Champions League winner, mate. Like, stop it.
So what?
Come on.
He drew about 900 games that season.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, man. Like, he's gone places and he's done a good job. Newcastle.
Where has he gone that he's done a good job?
Newcastle, Chelsea, he stabilised the ship there. Didn't do great at Real Madrid, but hey-ho. I think it's a respect thing, He goes places where he's not respected. Like, you have to be mindful. You got to read the room. You can't, I can't knock him for going Real Madrid. Yeah, but I just remember Ronaldo giving him the look like, what's this guy going to teach me? What's he going to teach me? But then when you see him at Chelsea, he was hated. It was never going to work with the guard that they had there, man. Honestly, and with Everton, that's the worst move you can make. Honestly,
it was always going to be an uphill struggle going Everton, given who he'd been managing before.
100%.
Tough one for him. Tough one.
Yeah,
Rooney could do a lot worse than going Everton. Put it that way, or Everton could do a lot worse than Rooney by the looks of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, before we go, I think it's only right that we read out the super chats before they go mad. I'm just going to rattle through them. Please give a massive shout out as well if you can whilst I'm reading, guys. Steve Rio. Massive shout out to Luke MUFC, talking about how he's worried. We've spoken about him already. Yoni Marlowe, shout out to him. Bigging up Phil Jones.
Yes, Luke. What's happening?
Yeah, and Yoni, well done, Yoli. I'm reading through. Shout out to Sam Buchanan, who asked thoughts about Phil Jones. Rio's already given his feedback on that.
Yes, Sam. Thank you.
Shout out to IQ 1985.
IQ?
Yeah, weird names out here. Looks like he's from Dubai. giving that money in AEDs, mate. I know all about that. Expensive country. This is not a Ragnick team, he says. He's saying he doesn't have control. Shout out to Daniel Molander. Again, saying that he doesn't reckon Ragnick has full control of the team. Interesting narrative that has been run here. I'm scrolling through. So no one says that I've forgotten. Yeah, we've already shouted out Singh. Rune Bajong. Rio needs to sue his internet supplier.
I'm going to get on the phone as soon as we come off of this call, man. I can't believe it.
Shout out to Ganzo. United fans not happy. HD car care. Majority of players are not United quality and must go. We can't keep sugarcoating things. Peter Knight, Steve, we don't deserve top 4. We've been abysmal all season. 30 minutes against Palace and that's it. Side note, Jones needs to replace Maguire. Wow.
Wow.
There's going to be some seriously hot takes like that all this week.
It's mad,
wow.
Isn't it? This guy hasn't given a super chat, but he deserves a shout anyway. Shout out to King K116 saying Joel is a goat. I completely agree there. Yeah, Sam Buchman again putting it in. Amin, the thoughts on Donny van der Beek playing badly missed today. And yeah, I'm still scrolling through. I think we're almost done, guys.
It's been a vibe. Not a good one, but it's been a vibe.
It's been a terrible vibe, mate. I'll tell you that for sure. You guys are poor. You know, I don't even
next
like
Monday, isn't it, Villa. Is that the cup next Monday? It is, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm not even looking forward to games right now. That's the problem.
Crazy, man. Craig, United's dressing room, hearing rumors that they're cliquey, he says. Rio, did you ever experience cliquey dressing rooms?
Not with England, yeah, not at Man United.
Okay.
Wasn't that your fault at England, though?
Mine?
Yeah.
But mine exclusively?
No, not yours exclusively. It wasn't a United player thing.
No, it was the rivalry between Man United, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea. That was the main rivalry where we couldn't put our club ties aside.
Did you still go and sit with Frank? Because I know he's your mate, isn't he?
Yeah, I mixed around. I went and sat with him and everything, but it was still just a little bit. There was a vibe, man. Still a little vibe there.
Little side eyes and that.
Before that, it used to be cliquey with Man United. They had their own table.
Oh wow!
Arsenal, you got a chair, but it's outside.
Yeah.
Shout out to Salau Daz. Alex Bugman's been chucking it in today, man. Wow, that's like the third one I've seen. I'm trying my best to rattle through. Apologies, guys. Apologies. Save the Jungle. We see you. Alav Libran. We see you. And I'm going to read out one more. And then I'm done. Jonathan Gallagher. We see you as well. Thank you very much. Rio.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your time. Steve, we'll see you guys soon. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, and we'll be back with Gazzetta dello 5. Peace.
Thanks, guys.